that like, oh, this is the kind of thing I wish I had told myself. And so who do I have to tell now? I've moved away gently. And then after the third or fourth time of contact, that was campus at Pasadena Community College, delves in them and we know kinds of the things.
So it's cool to be able to.
You may still feel that back to school feeling even after you no longer go to school. And we have constantly reminded them about not, because
I was in Miss Campbell
now doing
brass,
this song.
trumpet.
They did it, they changed it to
That
brass.
sweet spot.
Went to school with the exception of like one. You got some long legs.
She said that.
And I remember going up.
It was your confident video exclusive. Look at that. Thank you for watching.
Some of our deepest, Leslie, our first girlfriend, Amber, our first.
eBay still happen?
Playing off of the narcissism joke, tucked in to khaki shorts, and the khaki shorts were very long and big. To be in sync with that.
We try to take a little break and then blam, bring it back.
I have found myself, I actually.
At the Zaxby's.
How is it sort of clouded every single thing that I experienced.
It's like name dropping.
It's like a big bathtub. Not really, because then, you were the same kid that had been going to school with it at the law school, still does. And so
let's try it right now, okay?
Tap into what?
Don't tap into your 41 now.
Was this new kid in this
year of my school?
That is wild. Yeah. That signed my yearbook. And so when I walked into Bowie's Creek,
and 12 more today.
We get ready for a new season of Good Mythical Morning.
Cool. I mean, I think it is when you can see the wheels turning in your kid's brain.
Not too. Chris Stewart.
He had a big grin on his face, but like, you know.
At school.
It's pleated.
Pleated khaki shorts that went to just above the knee. Peter Dinklage.
The one that was formerly known as Chip.
Yeah.
Dink.
Think about how much a person.
The library where I was being very bookish one day, really good band. I knew some of the band members, like I'd met at the time. Well, are you talking to me right now? Or are you talking to?
And when they moved in, I had this incredible self-image. I had no reason.
It's great. You know, I feel like even professionally, we're kind of in a moment where we've geared.
Fired.
You gone.
PDFs. It's PDFs.
Right. Well, we can laminate them.
We sell PDFs. I wanted to.
It like it was yesterday. And we would. Again, it was his best album.
Hide my age, Link. That's what I'm gonna keep doing.
Your first, you know how it is. Your first day in prison, and you're
like me and my dad put us into towns that were just normal Southern towns around us.
Because you'd always eat. We'd go to Lillington to eat. Is making a joke.
I feel like I have to, you know.
Air newness of school, you know.
Years of myself from that time, but
you were still obsessing about like the next class. He spends a lot of time on it. Basically your entire life going to.
In first.
Last names. But have a towel and
Yeah, I've made it work many times.
You make that D walk. Any kid who would have to be in a middle school.
I don't know. It's a lot to let them know about Cubert. Yeah,
I did not know about.
I'm gonna blow their minds with Cubert. This little guy. Yep.
But so then the next morning, what would the ad say? I moved forward, which was. He's very aware. Like lottery if things got crazy.
Right.
But I mean, people were not pouring into this town.
We'd swim there more. When I walked into those halls, which first of all, I understand
he reinvented himself.
Because I didn't understand until later in life.
It's not like you can just touch a girl on the knee with your knee and then the week later, you know how my
said, something about me though.
I had
these
never
small
played
town kids. They don't.
It just came back to what they were gonna wear. Like
yours in the page in the book and write in the book, and that's like their card and their thing, and we talk about the things that happen. It lived up to those expectations that we set, but
I remember
at the end of the summer in the North Carolina summers, you were so
get inside of his.
Well, okay.
Because, well, we know that it's our fault, right? Whatever people do, but I
signed
like a celebrity.
Chris Stewart.
Was not to interrupt the flow of our
conversation. And I appreciate that.
And he said,
listen, hold on. Just let go so quickly.
Whoa, man.
I don't want to misuse the term literally. It figuratively blew my mind.
Yeah, the bookends to the, I mean all the kids, your kids too. It was like, there was a lot of wigging.
Coming together.
So last year, a whole bunch of worries.
Remember the time that our friend
back up with Good Mythical Morning. We're starting to get
I was always distracted by
punitive measures were taken, but we're not gonna go into details. Let us know.
Yeah, if you wanna see me, I'll be on.
Nerve-wracking, because it was huge. It was,
that made back in the routine.
In our age, I know enough about myself, even though I can't remember specific
to the uniforms. So
because they're stripping kids these days of the back to school sensation.
I was beside myself, and that's the year is also in that rhythm.
I'm sure. Thought that way. Heat dry it.
Can't wait to do that with the gargoyle. Double dates, man. I was like, we can drive now. Double dates, man.
And trumpets. I do know that my mom would take the first day of school picture lunches, and I didn't either. But
in high school, but there were quite a few that did.
It was a very new hair. I gotta tame it down.
He thought he had taken it too far.
Too insane. I think you had Lafayette.
At a birthday dinner, I grilled the steaks. Most significant year for me. Hot tub on, I thought he would come out
and get in alone.
He didn't. She wasn't tanned. And
to watch more Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist on the right.
To watch more of our daily show, Good Mythical Morning, click
places and he had different options in my sock drawer.
And
like everyone was running around getting all their stuff straight and
dating. I was in genetically or something that we screwed up as a parent. Learn how to get out of these escape. Reinforce that every single year there's this very but the biggest.
You remember what year that was? When Chip became
school, because it's mostly the one school.
So maybe we'll just make your
waistline.
Those are great. You know, a great thing about a braided belt.
And so I remember for years feeling that like someone being in the hot tub,
open the towel like
and receive. We are exploring the question is
around that same time when people are adopting their that you only speak truth.
No, if you recall, I don't want to have to.
And so there's freshmen that are trying out for the soccer team, one of which.
And say, you know what, I don't want to say it, I really thought they were from.
All that weight of the I can do it right here. So that when I get home, yearbooks.
Yeah.
And I think there's, I can.
But it was a pretty tightly knit group. But I wasn't an anxious kid. I never dealt with a lot of anxiety, and ball team. And of course I knew I was gonna play basketball, and she just
classes taken agreement from like the majority of the family, and then
tell him how
before I get in the hot tub.
Up to in high school.
This was
I was like fourth or fifth grade.
Yeah.
But I mean, right before he became
like day 2, it's like, who is that? I don't remember him from yesterday. Keep it, even though I would eventually.
Peter, it's common anymore, and right now, we're gonna see what kind of fact checker that you just made. I will say that as a fellow NAR fact, we were the last,
and now still only goes through 5th grade.
5th grade, yeah.
Fifth grade.
We had,
and was there
I didn't drop out. We're just
a little guy.
Hey, we could do it in about.
Yeah. Draw a direct line from that to the hot tub I now own. School year, I can be somebody else.
Yeah, my philosophy
was I respected the boundaries. I wasn't gonna.
You gotta push through that.
My tub.
I remember.
Locke rolls down his window and he's like, Lincoln, your head.
You have a PDF, but it's
with
like,
a girl. But you
thinking
were
about. I don't know.
But you would just. You're
gonna talk about us going back,
right?
And that's. And wherever you are up there playing the trumpet, the docksiders we called them, those leather shoes that
I just did.
We go to all the. Okay.
They've been fired up about it. We were swimming. I remember show your.
Oh, including these bracelets that we're wearing. We've got all new mythical bracelets.
Great guy. To school.
Have changed in one sense, but haven't changed over the time. Kind of putting it when it gets a little bit long because he's playing basketball and stuff. He's like kind of puts it back.
Like to go to the McDonald's once
that's where they had fast food.
We're a pretty good community college when you consider.
Mind blowing. And think about how much.
We put him on the spot. He was acting one thing to the next in that newness, but
and I said
never had met her.
Yeah, I was like,
it was that first day of school and then the day of the talent show. Cause everything after
legs like tree trunks. Again, I don't recommend it. I'm just telling a story.
News of this trickled
and changes. I mean, you just look at pictures.
Experiences.
We'll be talking that it is from England.
Was going into high school.
Really good first year. It
They found friends.
It wasn't super easy.
Christy was packing the
Shape themselves in a different way because just the amount of light in the day.
merch promo, by the way.
Oh yeah.
This is like had to wait a whole signing kids.
And then I had a braided belt that was,
Write a little note to Lando.
Oh, pressure.
What was the thing? At Bowie's Creek, of course I was there for kindergarten with me, you and me, the holiday magic. So it's like moving from Canaan was a girl to, hey, there's this girl.
Those hallowed halls of Bowie's Creek Elementary as an 8th grader.
Yes.
I realized it was only open for a while. First kiss, different times.
Yeah.
From about a freaking fire. You have 2 fire pits. You have a fire pit. You don't have to.
Oh, you could set expectations low and be like, actually today, last night, I got home from work and the whole place was a buzz.
But so I was like, I wanted to soak my sore legs.
On a no-show to go with my shoes for the first day of school. When he works.
But only when spoken. Right, well, I will say that it sounds like you were more.
I go back to school.
Legal limit 104.
Want to bottle up and just binge drink.
Back to the drawing board.
Share with a friend of yours this episode of Ear Biscuits.
Banquet or raffle or something that my brother was going to because school sucks. And I was one of those school sucks kind of kids. Well, and let me explain that a little bit. Just the Bowie's Creek mentality was, really? It's just like a big bathtub.
To not move forward at all.
I don't know.
It was like, we're all getting in the hot tub and it becomes like, it's like.
Was an 8th grader when we were like.
Sure that Dyson's from Australia?
Pretty sure, look that up. Going to the next school. So it's not like for us, which we'll talk about in a little bit, where it was all a bunch of schools. And I just wish that I could go back and tell myself, don't.
Because there's usually only 1 or 2, maybe 3. An anxious interaction neighbor, so.
I have a spotty memory.
You didn't live in the, I think any moment when you can do that, the point is, the whole student body goes and watches the talent show. Is that time of day for our families. Right beside everyone who walked into the school right past it.
Yeah,
and of course,
he's actually not in here
because it's like my hair kind of, but
first grade, and I don't know. I
already knew it when you guys showed up.
Oh, this girl's from Nebraska. Episode. Follow the links in the description to subscribe on Apple. Not like us because we have hot tubs. Both.
On a hot tub.
Yeah.
Maybe let's not put the word douche on a t-shirt.
Really?
They don't allow it.
And while
Jacob, can you
children off to school, and again, last year was their first,
and it has
including your
any direction you looked, literally was a tobacco film.
Yeah, so we were people to download it. I want a paid download. I was like girls most of the time. Most of my brain was before moving to North Carolina.
You need a folded yet laminated Outback.
8th grade.
Get all types of stuff to support entertainment
from and watching the 8th graders.
So let's just do that.
I'll take this idea back.
In a life kind of way.
Well, I specifically remember not the first.
Where are they gonna come from? Brochure level.
Here's the cool thing though, baby. I'm sorry I didn't participate as much.
You were apologizing.
And we're like, we gotta get some new clothes. We can't be wearing two.
The thing you were looking for every year was, who's gonna be new? Where do the Ear Biscuiteers, or are you talking to you?
But now there's gonna be Anger girls. Let me
talk. We would talk, cause you would really get me. Keith Sears.
He
played I played trumpet. He played trumpet in the video version.
We just sold some t-shirts and made a PSA.
So and I think that it is the type.
I go out into the hot tub. I have just sort of some moments with myself.
Or a second blow dry. This is what happens. So. Just really self-conscious of
the same kids, but
you know who did it? One person.
But then you had Anger, and
what kind of that pops up?
It was very different from where I'd come this time, because when I think about it, I think I at that point I pulled back, and then within a week we were what your experience is. 8th grade. I want to talk about almost 3,000, yeah.
3,000 students at one high.
Again, the only thing.
As opposed to a nightly tip.
The whole day was about Shepard and his birthday, and you do whatever Shepard wants.
Shepard told me to
turn the
feeling. I think that's a good data point right there that we still live it.
Well, because I remember sitting there.
My son's hair is huge. like 99.9% of your being.
Nice white background.
Yeah, she would put me against that and she'd take my photo with like my lunch.
That Link is wearing at Mythical.store. Look at that. It says Ear Biscuits, which is the name of this podcast.
Brain works.
I mean, I thought that was pretty noble. And science as to why.
Get the right angle on that.
I'm gonna ride the gargoyle.
She wrote a note and then
my mom was a noter.
She was like, I walked through the kitchen. Every year, you would specifically anticipate who's gonna be the new kid.
That we were in the middle of this county, Harnett County, and we were where the, and then it comes down at a 90, south. It comes down at a 90-degree angle, perpendicular to my long
I don't think you should let kids in there at that temperature, by the way.
Breathe fire, all the connection. Technically, everything was working like a well.
Help them get out of the house, and you know.
Okay, it worked.
To
be recollecting. You wrote pressure notes, but you wrote notes.
Oh, you got in trouble?
Yeah, this is what happened.
Out the front door, I messed up the picture because they were already
went with the low top Vans.
And he said, I'm gonna wear my shorts, which are they're what
about even. We're gonna get into a little bit, just a little bit, not too much.
I've stood over that cauldron of fire next to my hot tub.
Naked. Had shorts on. I was like, I'm going to connect my knee. Real escape school? Is that for escape rooms?
Yes.
It's how to get out of escape. I need to go to that. Yeah, well.
At the time with a little strut. It's the energy that precedes the next energy, which is fall energy, like back east. Lily with about all of this production facilities and things in Australia, but the headquarters is in the UK.
Yeah, I've told the story, and again, I don't like the road in Thousand Oaks.
They don't let you use your phones in escape rooms. It's gonna have to be printed.
Think about summer. Things. I have a way of sensationalizing things. And
can a man have his fire?
Yeah, I'm getting that completely out. There is no opportunity.
The best moments of the year, the feelings that if you just
transitional thing that is happening, where you're starting anew, fresh, and
that's just
he was already gonna be a senior before you've actually registered what's going on. That's kind of the very leg and struck me.
Be drying off. I'd be drying off, and then I would just.
I'm soaking wet and very relaxed.
This year, the only worry that I could discern was, what are we gonna wear? So we did that last night. We talked about.
I know the way we're
both new kids, and I think that's what
fact that your brain has sort of ingrained this pattern.
I mean, I know that I still have my class schedule from every year.
But to know that, and I had the wherewithal.
And you know what? This morning,
kids' first day of school.
This morning, all of our kids went back
thinking again. I was thinking,
why do you do that?
Because I'm super popular and people just demand to have my.
Thank you.
So we were just talking a second ago.
Peter, that's cool because it goes beyond. Ooh, even better. Let us
say about Andrew.
Tread lightly. Watch yourself with Andrew because through kids, if you've got them, or just reminisce last night. But nice, more farmer oriented.
Lots of farmers.
But they had
what I wore. I had on this t-shirt.
Out happening, like Locke was, it was a big
grade going to the talent show in the Buies Creek Auditorium.
Yeah, took it to the side. Their scheduled rhythm. This is the Peter Dinklage that was Rhett's name.
Got my kid, yeah.
I think that's a really.
It was a different time, whatever. I don't know what year it was.
That's not an
seat,
right?
So you have that. You're the county seat. Is where the court to school, but going to the school with at least the app.
And it's also cool to relive. Vicariously sides.
And but
fact is he's not, and that's why he's not here.
The times have changed significantly since that time, and because you just take, and we would have.
Okay.
What I will say is so what I remember established himself.
Nintendo, I think, was a new iteration, but like the arcade version that was when we were freshmen in high school. So he was 3 years older actually. He wasn't that.
Chris Stewart was older than my brother.
No, I'm box. I remember you had a cube
Hustle and Bustle because on Sunday they had gone.
My region.
Yeah. Nothing like this is weird, but she involved last night than I was, and that's just where I got into a little trouble.
I mean, I wrote the.
You wrote notes. So that's what happens around here. When you make a mistake like that, when you make us look bad, you get okay.
Dot matrix.
Okay, it's we had a smoking pit.
Designated smoking area. It's like going into.
You got in your hot tub.
Here's the thing. I would be. Like he was listening, but he was
most significant conversation.
You're so self-conscious on that first day, everything's
You're responsible for it, whether directly.
But yeah, and so you
Can you use that term in that way? Recollecting?
Yeah.
Reminisce. Usually you just say, on last week's podcast, we incorrectly
was something, and we're laptop, what was it? Or what hot tub, and it's, cause it's a great time, it's kind of like the dinner table.
Investment back when we charge people to come.
Biscuits if you want to, that's a big help to us. I'm wrong. No, that's the Atari 2600.
I had the Atari 2600. At least I think it's from Australia. I'm sure it went down to, but still preppy. It was a preppy look. There, watching, well, you don't.
I was not confident. So did you get feedback on the?
I need to go back to school. I think I need to go to community college. I think ultimately that is what I've just decided. I just remember feeling good about myself. Distant future.
I mean, I made
we're
the
gonna have to keep going back and forth.
I made the narcissist. You know, it's like trying to recapture that feeling, man.
Constantly.
You know, you're just trying to get me.
You know, wasn't as good. I wasn't there. The nightly tick group is a totally different thing.
Redeem it. That's good. That's good. There are some negatives, but then there's this energy. It's just like you gotta give them some in your walk, and this is that
man. I'm
feeling associated with that. If there was something that you've built, it's also an argument for not doing those year-round school. We haven't gotten home yet. I've done some texting with the family, and I've got some updates.
Because of who you are, but just don't, it's not all it's cracked up to cool. Kids love it. A couple of douches wear them all the time.
Mythical.store group.
I mean, I don't really know what the rules are. He was like, I got it cut.
If Jacob were here right now, he would be typing out.
They are independent, but it's not quite.
I'm sorry guys, from my childhood, and I can see when
that one of my earliest back to school experience Central High School was. So we had
multiple places because gathering around the campfire.
We do it all the time.
Which of course I also have one of those. Is coming with Locke and Shepherd to pick up Lily to take.
When you talk about, so I went with him to this banquet. Of course he could drive, he was a guys from then on.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember, the problem is his dad was also named.
Through 8th grade, there was like.
They went to her knee as a show of affection, which I do not recommend. It was seen as Australian for vacuuming, isn't that?
Are you?
Because I lived in California for 3 years. Down the group together. It's not really a man bun, but it's the beginning of one.
Well, it's a well, it just debates on how they did.
To basically go to Anger. I mean, it was 8th grade class. All
those pictures.
I remember now. For me, I was coming from California,
and whenever you said. And you've already admitted to having a hot tub.
My signature.
Lincoln ordered these 1,000 kids.
No, so a big transition for them.
And of course, I mean, it was first time Lando being 7 years.
Said that we would talk a little bit about the science of why we, but let's talk about the children because.
Well, I think before we do, we have to issue an apology. Leslie is now about hot tub size. You know, I mean.
I'm part of an escape room. Yes. First of all, I need to take the class. We need to, this is us, the last.
Well, we spoke to, he likes to just type, so Melissa, there's this girl, Stephanie. It's like, man, one of
is you've got a show that comes back and is on that same.
And side note, Tom Cruise does sign all of his own yearbooks.
He does. Kids think, and I can already see the patterns of the way their brains work.
Yeah.
My wife can see that we see our connection.
Sexton is probably one of the best. She wasn't physically just schooled at home. Up until
you got to tone it down a little bit.
You want to make a statement on that first day. I mean, your clothes do matter with hot tubs.
Yeah, those douche hot tub guys.
How hot can your tub get?
You have a hot tub.
We have hot tubs.
You have a hot tub that changes color while we. Then they do have. I think isn't there a longer break during the summer? Even for trying to make them bigger and better than each other's, they can just move on. There's other people who do things on the internet. It's fine. It's the fruits of your labor, man. You've worked hard for over a decade.
If I'm on fire, gang war.
Her kneecap, but when she pulled back, I love as well last night.
Actually, no.
He likes the hot tub. Decided to seat us.
Cluster. We can get out of any escape room.
We need to teach that class because there's
thing that I say is perfect. I think Rhett tends to imply. I'm talking about sperm. Sperm makers.
I've made all the kids I want.
I respect you for that. You did do that.
To fact check, and do think part of it is to school year after year. In a
swimming in our secret show, to end the school year, and you got these 8th graders.
So,
and
I held on to Chip for 2 years.
And this is trying to take it, and then because I wanted to watch. To high school.
Brushed it again. I got long legs. I got a lot to give.
Because at first, did she repulse? And even his younger sister Natalie.
The only thing that I was thinking about.
And I was thinking, what's the? And Jacob doesn't like to speak audibly. You could buy drinks.
Yeah, vending machines outside.
Yeah, and you could go in the cams and stuff. And she never dated you.
Yeah, listen. I told you my confidence was unfounded. I think that I don't think that is really a long-term risk.
We're still in like the reinvented himself. Chip.
Oh, yeah. He had the lunchbox at home. It made me think I had a console.
Thing about Bowie's Creek was
also I had
funness.
Yeah, but you started talking about like the years, and I just started. I'm gonna be
that the first day of school was always laced with anxiety.
I'll tell you about Anger girls. There's gonna be Lafayette girls. There's gonna be Lillington girls. The girls that we have not.
Because you're saying he became a man, but it's back to school. I think back into the rhythm of that. I would corral the fire around my.
I own this place.
There's this like, okay, there's this obsessive quality about fill in the blank, or and so they go out at the front door. So you cared about girls with.
That's why that's why the school uniforms.
Agreed, and we all got in the.
And listen, you know how skinny I am. Yeah.
So I think that's pretty.
Happy with me, I apologize.
We can pirate that.
He is.
But the thing about Bowie's Creek
Nintendo?
School.
Well, definitely waiting for him to sign my yearbook, and he just like.
Got to be peak.
And Michael growing up called our friend Eric growing up, and Eric's dad.
There. But I went up and,
Mine stays the same. My light does not change. Here's the difference. Pretty low rent,
Here's how I'm gonna defend. I'm a class of freshmen.
Yeah, it sounds dirty to talk about it now.
But it wasn't.
So
It's gonna be worse again. I know but I wanna lend you for this.
Did he go with low tops?
Really came through. Low top
for
Jacob.
To do that.
At school, which I always thought of them as, they were kind of good old boys.
Especially in subsequent years, always the ultimate back to school is like the basis of our.
Once you got to know those Lafayette boys, they were great.
Joseph Revels.
Oh man, it was a mentality, okay?
I understand.
South.
Yes, and we will be.
I do remember that. You wanted it to be long so you could take it from east and flip it over and turn it.
Like I ended up cutting and stuff. You sleep differently, and if you.
The daily routine of the viewers.
Right, we want
and I would just like.
Easy it is for you to heat the hot tub up, Link.
I just easily turned into like a
D.
A D with legs.
Yeah. This happened in 1986, answered the phone. I remember Michael telling us this story.
You didn't come up once.
Good.
But it is funny.
It's
smoke. They're also and chatted it up for a few minutes. I met her kids.
Sure. No, that's just breastfeeding babies.
Oh, like a king in there.
So you had some special moments to yourself.
With her mom? What can I say?
No, I said, Shepard told me to turn it on because we've been playing that, but then we get that was when I was like, I'm gonna make my way, I'm gonna.
Like when my kneecap touches it,
it could be anything, really. We did other things, we had really good friends. We did
they were very close friends. I think that was the factor, but it was not. I mean,
I think there's a better way to apologize.
So we are sorry.
We took a.
And she was like, "Wouldn't you like to?" On his lunchbox was like a.
Yeah, I brought us some arcade game.
In my hot knee, grazed vibe, but it doesn't have.
And we learned while we were in Australia that you like when I did that. There is still all this excitement, not anxiety, but just anticipation and excitement. And then it's like day 2, I'd be like,
start over. I think it was so great. I remember thinking, tell me what
world, and they.
And how many students are at that high school? 3. Biology. Black Friday.
Hot. What a douche can just pick his phone up and change the temperature of his hot tub. And we are constantly.
You got to bring your best on day 1.
So that didn't come January.
And bond.
But the basketball coach saw that. Oh yeah, about that. Fact check. We have to do, what do you call it, an error correction?
We got to do a
bracelets in the new color scheme that we are, it didn't.
Of course, I'm on the soccer team. You're in the soccer
cycle.
This isn't joke.
Conversations while just swimming in the river.
They weren't all about women.
I do remember thinking that my Cubert lunchbox like said.
I don't think you did.
It was on Atari, wasn't it?
I don't think it was.
See, Feldman's looking that up at our academics.
But
and then he did a trumpet solo.
Brass trumpet.
It blew my mind. So it's actually the plasticity of your brain. No, it was first workout since being back since. Well, they had
we had Buies Creek Elementary where we came from, and we had the reputation as being.
It's like because I feel I ended up signing my name quite a bit. So, but
last year was huge. I mean, I think it's this. No.
And there's all these ideas. For me,
it feels like
I didn't write a note. I wrote a note yesterday to Shepard because it was his birthday. So we usually.
But we never said that everything.
Have you been? And I was thinking, well, isn't it obvious?
Doing something more important. And then we put him on the spot, and he did some Google.
And I will say that for the majority of our entire high school, like that.
And just to like dry it up.
And to some degree, our athletics, you had that game with the 2 goals with your left foot. It was amazing on every. Okay. But anyway, so we kind of look down on all the other little towns. Don't get too.
We worried about so many things. It's kind of like an older brother in that way that like, okay, that's not tasteful.
Okay, well, I don't know, maybe
get all types
DOOSH.
That was a new point you were like.
I think that's one of the reasons that we've continued to.
Exact opposite. I had every reason to be. But it's cool.
Or without socks. And I remember I'm so tan right now.
To assess and expect.
Can't go to these other.
To kind of speak the code.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we get ready for a.
Oh, I got a pencil.
You do, yeah. All of these kids were seeing and their desks are kind of touching at the top.
Group work.
And that was when I did I've told this story before.
But so.
I remember just thinking about how tanned my leg.
Through the kids, but also through our own.
He wants to become Peter.
A great thing about our hot tub is we're going back in the house.
Podcasts or anywhere else podcasts are available. And then you just move on.
Picture an amphitheater that only has 3 seats. That was the peak, man.
And it was Brad Inman. Shout out to Brad and
your kids. Because I do think that but Leslie and Amber
actually remember
cool thing about, by the way, but just the size.
I don't do that. I have a small sort of humble hot.
Having it now and you're not in school.
But you're good. You're good.
You'd walk. You were going to the real escape school.
Hey,
and like
we can
just a couple of days. I'm pretty sure I had a He-Man Masters of the Universe lunchbox.
I remember your lunchbox.
It was you'd pass by the.
Yeah, Andrew was a little rougher, and so I do things.
Now here I'm faced with a decision because I could decide to sit.
And I'm like, I'm gonna turn. Came back with.
You know why he's not in here? Because he was wrong on the first day of school.
I mean, that's why a lot of schools.
I had to take the picture outside because, whoa.
What?
Tap back into that. There's an actual sexton that I now go to school with. I don't.
You still have them?
I have like a in my backyard.
You can have a freaking fire pit.
This side and that side. Found hobbies.
But they got plugged in and they were obviously about 14 inches too long. I get so frustrated in
buy
escape
the group
rooms.
on
Some sort of sport. It's great family time.
It's like of anybody.
Australia, and then he did the fact check.
With Locke for Locke's first day. Like, Lily will be there and kind of show him.
4 fire pits.
You're gonna have
I'm gonna have gargoyles.
That'll cook you.
Yeah. And so that's how hot it is. Great.
Yes.
Do you remember when we've got children who start school at the same time? You're gonna feel that feeling even before.
I said, it was just to date, be in a relationship with a woman.
I know. Oh, it was just this emergency trip to the store.
No, I was like, I got you covered, son. I got 2. We
changing of the seasons. Your brain has become accustomed to that, and it's just the way our culture. I mean,
there's truth in the photos, and like another podcast, I think. And I just kind of.
You have a bigger. We kind of stayed with that Buies Creek group.
Lives and so
his hair because he's been kind of growing it out and he's been doing he's been like
getting a trumpet. Signature's probably worth something on eBay. And then I stuck
close out and it just kind of I mean it sort of like but at least he was
his
his
dad didn't go
name.
To school. Oh, I mean I remember he was a freshman.
Yeah.
Which made me upset, but
I have seen the picture.
Kind of we have talks.
That Miss Linear decided to, and then that year,
but
multiple times that I've been writing
But he did it in a faulty way, apparently, because something came up that talked about
He could have protested because you can't. And
welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. Going to get in the hot tub.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just the way that it's worked out. My brother was already on the basketball. Yeah. We didn't keep him in a cage.
But it was back in it. The biggest transition, the back to school moment.
Knee contact. I just
obsessing about like, oh, she's gonna be my girlfriend and
but the school was it was as cliquey as most 90s.
Shot, and I think I can see the anxiety in my.
The footlights out again.
Off all the way up to the ankle.
I remember that Merle Haggard song. I'm 41 years old and I ain't. Like Bowie's Creek adjacent, right? So
yeah.
So we kind of was gonna do all the sports, whatever, and this was really building it up in my mind. That was the only first grade on.
Anticipation of breaking the resolution. It's looser than that, and it's more about
action.
It's a commercial event. I mean, it's like freaking New Year. So fast forwarding 2 years later, and you meant it as a compliment, like insane is good.
Yeah, gesturing to where he normally would be. He's not in here right now. He ended up getting a haircut. His hair has been.
I cut Lincoln's hair last night too.
Oh yeah, you even if you don't go to school anymore, you may feel still under the authority.
Right.
Of the United Kingdom.
They're not independent. Great friend of mine, good guy to meet.
Taught us a lot. But Andrew was where
high by his tone of voice.
Yeah, but you didn't say that.
I
said it.
That
teacher had notes to my children. I get to the end and I begin to sign it Rhett. You know?
And he was so nice.
That was Lafayette. Then you had Lillington. Lillington was
years old. I mean, it was, let's see. I think it was
schools were. I think it probably is.
That kind of informed how I charged up this time of year. Like I know the traffic
oiled machine, and so I was like, I'm going.
Because it's that part of that confidence, because you want to be able to slide in there.
You don't want to do that at school either.
Case in point, okay, the back to school.
And then I'm moving right along. The same thing was happening at my house. There was a lot of hub around the entire perimeter of my property. Slock because he was beginning his freshman year at high school. Notes.
Yeah, pressured me into writing the notes. I ran. He had a mustache.
Oh, I specifically said, I think Dyson is from Australia. But then I was like, it was also like, at least your country is, you're not. And maybe you are. A hot tub, that's just a bowl of fire that you light just for effect.
Yeah, turned out to be Melissa's boyfriend. So that
in a relationship with somebody. You cannot get any cooler than this group of 8th graders up there right now that continues to come back. And
well, not literally.
That's why I stopped myself from saying literally. Cause
spot in the Cape Fear River and just talking for hours, going into our junior, love a newness, man.
I remember anxiety over that because I was
helping get it right and stuff.
You brought it down, you toned it down a little bit.
Brought it at this point. I actually got, I just walk up to him and talk to his mustache.
He had huge calves.
I wouldn't even talk to him. Cool.
Yeah. You know, first of all, it was Shepard's birthday, so we did. And I'm thinking about like anticipating what high school was gonna be like. And of course, the way
and they had substances that we didn't, neither of my kids, but I know that a lot of
athletes, even more pressure here.
Mm-hmm. And school feeling. Even if you're still having an envelope that has stuff from every.
And thinking, invent the class, university was, where Campbell University was. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us, like selling the secrets to almost, enjoy it. Just to enjoy
this is my show.
To ingrain that pattern in our brains for years. But grade when I West Anger.
Ridicule someone who's not here. We wouldn't do that.
Let's talk about the fact that we just sent our Scrappy. Thanks for being your mythical best.
Talking about them again. I was holding it in my first day of school. She was
man. Depends on what culture you're in and what you're
and all of her kids
baseball and he's been shamed.
He used his keyboard. He used his master it, but there was like a commons area. And there were
in TU, I did not weigh more than 145. We were just supporting the local industry. I mean, I did not partake, I did not smoke.
But still, the air gets a little crisper. So this is, and then.
Listen, if you're actually a Dyson, and we apologize, but there
but
are
you colonized
manufacturing.
Australia, use, and then he was like, Dad, I don't have socks that are just the right amount. Something that if it's in your brain, you can harness. Sexton Ford car lot.
And again, I was doing other things. We both excelled.
Being us out slowly.
Okay.
As we've continued to talk about. Last Christmas, when I was at home, #ear biscuits, reminisce about your back to school.
A lot of them were.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'm saying, and one
the version on the here, call me Peter.
Small town, the band, the one that everybody talked about. We went to Buies Creek School. It was K through 8th, which is not very
daisical summer thing. So I was thinking,
while in here.
I mean he's not mute. He does.
Yeah.
He does speak when he.
We're gonna do the talent show. We're gonna do Digital Underground. For Dyson, well, they adapt. They become. I was kind of met with an icy stare, because she just continued to maybe just below the knee. It was right around the knee. Legs were.
You do?
Yes, the flames.
Like a creepy watch salesman on like a street corner.
I remember Chris Stewart.
Yes.
Who was an 8th.
You verify that? No.
But if you recall, in sync with the. But
what started with
real? It was be one in order to go to school. So all of a sudden we're next to your aversion to douchey vibes.
Yeah.
Maybe like a couple years later, that Chip is a nickname. Is like Chip off Perfect Independence.
He very quickly
to defend himself. My
which
kids
will be after I'm done with this.
My kids didn't been out of shape about this.
Stephanie was gonna hear Lincoln say to himself, he's like, I gotta do something about near 3,000 volts and record. And you wanted to show that off.
Especially that time during Brass Monkey, and it was
Then what would happen is I would be at
Want to get out of this escape room?
Assimilated.
Yeah.
But that's the type of thing you go back in about.
It's fine. Listen, too many.
The smart. I don't know either.
Even didn't.
I've never gone over 96 or 7, man. I can't take it.
Well,
this is the time. This is the time to make that change. It's like, this is gonna be your girlfriend.
I tried, man. I tried a whole lot more than I was successful. I've spent all this time. In fact, I remember.
It's really, it brought up a lot of.
Better. It's like co-evolution.
I get it. Do you hear that? They started playing the music. I hate it so much I haven't looked into it. No, I just never experienced it. It's more about the energy, man.
Well, and you think about not being able to come to the phone was a huge douche move. It wasn't purposely clicking
or. And it's
don't.
I use a ball, put it on top, and just shave this.
Kind of like we're like, okay, we get better at 04, which is the legal limit, and it's
alien abduction.
Yeah, you have a hot tub that's bigger and cooler nowhere, but we're like, but at least we have a university. We from Australia and Fiji.
Okay, so see, you're adopting that school
getting such that it could be rolled around one time and then put down the leg.
Yeah.
I don't know if this
ruled the school, man. I got a
day of school, but before the first day of school, there was some.
Oh, you did?
I did. I had that before Nintendo. Ultimately, he was trying to establish myself, who carry great significance in both of our lives.
Here we are talking that you were obsessed with. I do remember he thought about all that. Lunchbox.
I remember the Cubert lunchbox.
That must have been first grade. He goes back in there for
4 at the time, and I guarantee
owls in it. Maybe I'll save that for the end.
And to think that I was so focused on just getting a girlfriend, the Nightly Tick group is
that only happened in Andy.
With me is that I got home and like it is like getting into a witch's brew.
Wow.
It is incredibly. I kind of gave her a look like, you bet I do.
And then you kept your
the reception of 2 new
cafeteria, and there were. At the end of the hallway, there was the closet that had the tap. Dating somebody too, man. Exactly. I was there before she was. She sat down, didn't see me, and I saw her when I was clandestinely writing a note to each of them.
She's a noter, huh? Forget it.
I remember
your dot matrix life. The cool thing is that
you got didn't go to the high school
party for my 41st. No, because I'm 41. That's just who cares? 41. What?
Her husband wasn't there.
Go to Harnett Central High School. Come together.
Yeah, so then Buies Creek Elementary, then.
My kids are tough too.
It's so weird, we're 40 years.
Do you want a chicken sandwich or do you want the daily offering?
There was a pit.
Complete overdrive by this time thinking about girls going into my freshman year. And I remember.
And not being narcissistic or a douche.
Right, yeah.
Jesse pulls up and rolls down the window. The same thing that Locke noticed, which is
He had shorts on. The only time I was excited about school was the first day of school. That opportunity to express yourself in that way. I don't know, there's advantages, there's disadvantages. That's not what we're gonna talk about.
Blue and
I've been in, but that was like, I've been in, no, I said, I've been in the hot tub.
But at that,
no significance there. It happened healthier in this regard. And I remember we would get together.
I think it's a great thing to embrace, you know, if there's any way to.
I was like, we're gonna go, the thing you don't understand is like, sure, you know, we've been here with this group rocking these days. I don't know it's not really quite pastel. He was Chip and then he was Peter.
Yes.
You guys, you've got your own like town hall and you are the county C, man. Can you see me at PCC?
Just go to real estate school. It's short. Use them as towel dryers. I'm gonna print out my schedule and put it in
relationships are not going to last, okay? They're not gonna.
Jesse.
First grade, which is when we actually met.
Yeah.
That was like the old, had no place to go. Cut to a clip. Dyson is from Australia.
That's why.
Dyson with a snout and he goes up the pyramid. Oh, they're gonna be blown away by. And now I'm gonna be 41. Am I gonna have some awesome
oil, or did she just
seemed like everything was under control? It just sort of seemed like any part.
Yep, any place.
I can't believe they're not back in. Maybe things that we remember together about the way that we remember back. First of all,
here is insane.
Other schools. What a douche. Boy wants to become a man. And explanation of it.
Just feeling it vicariously. So you weren't from a farming.
We had
vibe.
This sense that we were better than everybody.
Was there a specific? You just brushed your kneecap against her kneecap.
It was different. It was more intense than it had been before.
Later you're gonna be dating her.
Well, that did work successfully one time.
You would talk outside that. It was only like maybe another week of school. Maybe some exam.
For the kids.
You wait in line to get
you get more with more leisure time, and they of course many of those were shared because we went to school and back to school basically every year that we employed that way.
It's funny that I immediately went back to us swimming in the river and like
get them a book and we write in we take it's like junior chip off off the old block. And so when
in New York City.
Yeah, that's where they do that. They were scrappy.
Scrappy.
I'm trying to
yeah. They knew stuff. Connect with.
I had Cubert. I feel like I had Cubert on a home system of some kind. First grade, like we had no regard for sunscreen or anything.
I mean, it didn't change. If I work it out, because the girl, does it still happen even though we are no longer going to school? And I don't excuse, I'm going on the record to say, I don't know what you were going for.
It was just need to, no, I apologized multiple times last night, but it
was able in the tight-knit community of Bowie's Creek County. See,
teaching the real escape class.
So what were you saying? Let's cash.
He had a mustache in like 4th grade. I didn't even know him.
Just look at it. You
were pools.
Right.
And so I was that you may not even be conscious of like, okay, summers, the days are natural, as if that would be a douche thing to do.
I cut Chrissy's hair too.
No, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We go to Keith Hill's pool. Because we have so many.
That this girl Melissa.
No. Still the same.
Talk about being a narcissist, but then like being a narcissist while telling that joke.
If people are gonna not.
You're right, I'm thinking of the other Chris.
You're thinking Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson.
No, Chris Stewart.
For us to connect as a family and talk to each other, admitting that I own a hot tub.
Yeah, right.
Works.
At the time, perform Brass Monkey. I was so skinny. I was so scrawny. I was 6.
We did some cross pop
guy. One of the best guys.
I was getting a refill on the drink. You can do that. I had a little bit.
We'll have to see how it turned out.
We worked it.
41. Like I was just having my awesome
structure of this. I mean, this is a big place. How do I know how to get around? What about real estate school? Much shorter.
I think I need to
just drive past the used car lot anymore. It's
and you know there's a
little bit of the ropes.
Right.
She's been there a year. So I go to be able to kind of.
Well, I brush my knee against it.
Something to the effect of James Dyson is from Australia. But
this week at the round table of them lighting, big transition.
Lily was going into being a freshman, can be your girlfriend, one of them can be my girlfriend. It's like it was that easy, like twice as tall.
Yeah.
And blonde. And you can see them light up like, whoa, kind of reading my mail, so to speak. Eyes. Because the show is so structured around being a part of, it's like, it kind of feels like the New Year's resolution. Oh, you gotta shop.
The clothes that they wanted.
That's the first thing about back to school is that it.
Yeah, that's right. 6th grade, I didn't ask for consent.
Think that, oh, he did that by accident.
She did not repulse, she did not record.
There was social interaction.
Yeah.
Schools, because there were no middle schools in the.
It will get, but I keep it at 98 when it is just me and.
Perfect. So I'm like, I'll help you out, son. So like everyone's expectations, what they were looking for.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, you start going to the high school and you realize Chad Sex.
You can get it for $12. I can get a Cuber. Is that a Cuber?
Also now, still is it?
Being devoted towards women. And they had done their back to school shopping.
Mm-hmm.
They had got.
I don't know if I don't want to get lost.
Print it out.
My
kids
in
are
a good. You want me to heat up the hot tub?
But I had all this. I had completely no reason to have it. But
what are? Oh, he's not in here. Why is he not? Okay, yeah.
I
the Peter Dinklage that if you came to our show, music. I think it's.
Oh. To hear this ear biscuit in its entirety and make sure you don't miss an CHS Harnett Central High School.
Can you imagine just
whoop, whoop.
I mean.
To him and standing in line.
Keep going, just me and you.
Yeah. Good luck with that. We stated that Dyson was from Australia. We are sorry. We now know.
Was there
kids, don't drop out. Don't drop out.
Shorter.
Class
you could drive a nice car.
At Pasadena. But you know, he knows a lot of the people who are from the school.
Oh, no. We gotta take the picture. We gotta take the picture.
You gotta have the picture.
Multiple lines. It's like, this was crazy.
You wanna just get pizza? So anyway.
I know what I gotta do. It's just a matter of time.
That's all I was thinking about. One of them is
so all you can do is hold your breath, simple as setting up a booth outside of escape rooms.
With a map?
With a map.
And then Jesse's like, all right, you guys gotta get ready. You gotta get trying to make things seem like they're gonna be incredible. And I was like.
Future things piece. And Stephanie walked in.
Oh.
I saw Stephanie.
You did. They both came to the school in the same year. And boy, first of all.
Because it's that time of year.
Courthouses, you've got some bragging rights. You know, you're not Bowie's Creek. And also don't cut my children. And you see it in the back to school ads and that kind of.
Let's continue this conversation using
time ever going to public school. They were all homeschooled. So lunchbox?
No, this is the game for Atari.
Okay.
I mean, because when you drop, just like,
he was doing things to me.
Deal for him and Lincoln and.
Yeah, it was just, they were trying to find their way in the world. Stick the
through anxiety for me, because, I mean,
significantly
whole year to date Leslie after that.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
About mid-thigh.
Put down the I know what you're talking about. You would like tie a little knot in it.
That talks about, there's a number of reasons for this.
And it's kind of like you're speaking, there's shortcuts because.
Have started
in
charter
school type situation.
Skate rooms and we get all the secrets. We have to pay for I look at my kids. Hey, and then when the amount of light begins, this back to school feeling. And so there's this article on NBC News.
Trying session. And I'm like trying to get
the end of high school.
You think with every news
class schedule.
Because everybody's scrambling to get ready and then everybody's getting rushed out the door and Chris is like.
And I was like, this is my first exposure to the group of people that I will be.
And I was in the Zach.
Going into the next year.
We were like at dinner and I'm like, you guys the Docksiders, the tan or the belt or anything?
I don't recall. I don't recall specifically. Pools.
Is that right?
Nope. Don't even think about it.
What's what and what I should be into. He didn't tell me that. I'm just kind of reading between the lines. But anyway, they were if the majority says yes, we'll get in the hot tub, then I'm like, okay, Raiders, man.
Well, I'm thinking about the way that we perceived 8th graders and the way that impacted my first day. How would you have done that?
Well, they mailed it to you. I poofed it up and where you could.
No, I'm not I'm dad. I thought about almost called 911, but we could have just done that.
Experiences I've had, because every year for a lot of my life, but you're going off to this high school. It was.
Actually, he's just on a phone call. He still works here.
He's doing something more important than with that.
Well, it increased slowly, but 6th grade.
0.1%, it was Cubert.
6th grade new students was 6th grade. Miss Lanier's class when
world. And it was, is it you look.
We let a few other people in, and
we had a very tight into one school year. He was Chip. Beginning of the next school year.
Like when people moved in.
I'd certainly never seen her.
Yeah, man.
And it's on my phone. I was such a small town, such a small school.
It was like Tom Cruise. As summer is coming to a close, it actually high level.
Well, in high school.
Community college. All the ads say that it's the best community college in the nation. It's where the narcissism comes in. I was the one that was wrong.
You were saying that you a nation band.
A good
thing.
band, huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had.
I never noticed the Lafayette band quality.
No,
does it take all the fun out of an escape room if you do that?
And I will put this in quotes. Fact check us.
He was my neighbor.
It's one of my favorite places to be.
You talking about?
I guess you don't want your kids
to talking about them.
You don't want to sterilize your children.
I don't.
Wait, I think that's
my kids are it wasn't about the unknown this year. Now it was a little bit for my oldest.
Figuring out the different gangs.
And so made it a little bit shorter. So
they both had to tone their hair down a little bit.
Yeah, I had to tone it down. Establish myself, and this thought that I needed to be there. We would go to the river. We spent a lot of time in the Cape Fear River.
Swimming.
Continue to do things like we do, like whether it, I look at Locke and how much he's changed in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's my.
In my kids, I was in my hot tub last night and blah, blah, blah.
Bowie's Creek Elementary School. After that, it turned into Harnett Central Middle School, where all the schools that didn't be.
My kids aren't sleeping in and.
So many people whose nights are ruined because they get stuck at my body was beginning to change.
Oh.
I'm not trying to poke holes into
I don't think I had
MCR.
arcade.
It was just arcade.
Arcade.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, just arcade. See, you didn't play it at home, man.
Yeah, I just my legs were sore. My legs are sore, man. I did one-legged.
Degrees?
I can't even do that. I have valves that I have to maneuver. Now, I will be able to control it with my mind. I think when we were in.
He was 4 years older than us. No, he was a senior.
And I come back in less than an hour later, and she's like, "Where have?"
I wrote him a little note.
What'd you say?
You're self-deprecate. You're talking about how, you're telling the story. Get some stuff going. So it's those. You're out of that lack of.
She was like, "Wow, Red." Mm-hmm. Me too.
It was a melting pot of all of the elementary school
moment. But first, we want to pause to let you know that you can get the shirt. Or I'll tell the abbreviated version, but that was when I just decided one day, some shirts too many times.
So
those kids?
I don't know. It's unlimitedly adjustable.
Yeah, because you can.
We should make a hot tub shirt. I'm a douche.
Me, the way that I saw Chris Stewart.
As a god.
And I was like, first grade.
Yeah, yep.
And been able to see, because we can't.
Parenting in general. For the Atari, okay.
I changed a little bit early relationship and forget about just enjoying the
which wasn't great for me.
Experiences ever that I remember vividly is our first day of
my hot tub. This is what's gonna make me feel better about it. And this is true. Just mean vicariously through our kids. I think we can take a journey.
Because I didn't wanna,
really?
They talked about it a little bit, but
before
you practice before
school starts. Like
at
that's
that
no
point,
longer a graze, that's a rest.
It's back to school, a feeling.
Interesting.
So I completely understand.
Coming back with my drink, and I went over there. I was like, "Hey!" She recognized me immediately.
Leslie and Amber. Oh yeah, and then we said, "Jacob, check that," because we had the wherewithal in the moment.
I watched him take the picture, and I noticed about the same time that to embrace newness.
Like when a 40th birthday, you remember that one, it's ingrained in there, and then if you can.
Was going to be my girlfriend. I'd never heard of her. Steps, that's what I call a pit, because they called it a pit.
I don't know what you would call it, but it's
at a printer.
I don't try not to poke holes, and philosophy was you gotta push through that. This is high school, these relationships are.
And how did that go for you? We're not gonna
Yeah, because it's actually a British company. We are sorry to everyone. I can do anything. Yeah, and not that Peter Dinklage that you're thinking about. Mr. So-and-so, can I speak to Eric? And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Michael, Eric's in the hot tub."
I had to stand in line
to
get her autograph.
Like, Chris Stewart just signed my yearbook. Oh, when it's over. So I believe
shoes off Amazon. Shoes are such a big deal.
you gotta have the right shoes.
Locke really got Lincoln into like the
We are this bastion of education.
freshness, new beginnings, the ability to start.
We're talking about back to school, and because we knew we were in the middle of
Jacob no longer.
a lot of cool things that we wrote about in the book, and we spent a lot of time camping and all that. Our show at the same time that back to school happens.
Looked at it with so much promise and a chance to connect.
It's gonna be incredible. And
Yeah.
how did this podcast?
Just try to kick the footlights out again.
How did it turn into this?
Correction moment here on Ear Biscuits. You know what?
But then I started and I'm
Or
like,
two, but again,
it's Campbell's class. that
sixth
year.
grade, yeah.
Spitting fire.
So last night, they all
sit in it. Like it goes from like green to blue to orange.
It's like an
The great thing is that I hot tub.
I got scared.
You have a hot tub.
I'm
Hold
really
on. I don't know how to say this in a way that will make sense.
School.
Which is 3 times the number that we had at 8. Like when you say, oh, fall again, guessing about some of our specific
recalling
back to school experiences that we had, but the yearbook day, it was a big thing. She in England, we know that you are actually responsible. He said, he called him and he was like, hello, my wife likes it hot. That's why she married me. But she pyrotechnics in your backyard.
I'm embarrassed, man.
Talking about it now because
well, these are real people that still exist.
Well, no.
And now we're 40, but we're also buckling down on other things that we're working on. It's like, okay, everybody, what's their kneecap gonna feel like?
A little rougher around the edges.
Yeah.
But except the other day, I saw it creeped up to 105.
Good God. And I have to get
What? That's crazy. There's somebody from another state. Like that was what it was to decrease.
Out of public school setting and there was nowhere. And then Christy starts taking the pictures, Lily gets in the car.
And so you've got those thoughts and those feelings and all the stuff that we kind of hinted.
I mean, I've mentioned anxiety a lot in this episode.
Don't worry about this. Don't wish that you're in
There's something else. I was very anxious about going to the wrong class at the wrong time. And they
knew stuff that we didn't. It changes your circadian rhythms and actually changes your melatonin levels. You still feel this, and why interesting ladies, it was doing, there's lots of to the escape rooms, they changed by this. No one mentioned it.
Was that on Atari? Because I think that was just in arcades. This was so contagious. I became convinced.
And go to those public.
Don't embarrass me about my fire. Yeah, a lot of douchey. From one school year to the next, a few minutes ago, and then we start talking about our kids, and then
Yeah, actually longer. You feel those days. All kinds of confidence, unfounded confidence.
And I was
I wasn't there. I just guessed.
I was outdoors with lights that change. Now they drive off. We wave goodbye or two, but I gotta get.
Did a lot of other cool stuff, but it was kind of all school career. 41, man. The playlist on the left.
And don't forget to click the circular icon to subscribe. I can
not
reinvent myself.
But I'm not proud of this. It was
embrace the newness that
Locke actually
white. They're like cool shorts with like a white base is what he said. So he's like with them.
He didn't, right.
Stayed at home and drunk Caprice. You're sitting there, no screens allowed, you're not in front of the television or whatever.
Squats on Monday, shout out to the gym that I go to.
Or talk to each other.
Right, two options.
So we, it's a great place for
an app. We don't have to be there, we just sell it as an app. You click on the app, bigger than mine. Of course, I am getting my backyard redone, so mine will be bigger and cooler than ever. It's at Little Dino's here. Friendship.
Yeah, because I mean, here they were all really nice. That's where food existed.
We had no place to eat.
Campbell's class. It was Miss Campbell's class, right? Or Miss Rand's?
You were Miss, middle school, from middle school to, and yeah.
The thing that I do find myself getting, now you're not ruling campus anymore. You're not an 8th grader at a school that you spent the nation. We're not the best, but
PC.
Remembering how leaves would fall back. Ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Hosted by a couple of douches. All adjusted incredibly. Yeah, and it took a while to stick. I called him Chip in clusters of 4 facing each other. So like you got 4 kids and they're all facing each other. Think about that so much. You're gonna think about it. Hide my age and make the stage and try to kick.
I'm poopy. 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 I am poopy. I'm 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 poopy.